It's away from the news at 8 on CBC Radio 1, and quite the story out of Temiskaming Shores about Dr. Peter Pace, who was loved by many people in the community, and so many were shocked when the College of Physicians and Surgeons began investigating him for sexual abuse of patients. This was late last year. That investigation ended abruptly when the 64-year-old doctor died in a collision on Highway 11 in January. Now, the doctor's death has not stopped the allegations, however. Last week, a Toronto lawyer filed a multi-million-dollar civil lawsuit on behalf of 10 former patients. Now, the doctor's wife and the Temiskaming Hospital, as well as an unnamed doctor and nurse, are listed as defendants. The plaintiff's lawyer, Justin Linden, spoke to reporter Kate Rutherford about the lawsuit. He says the legal action was getting underway before the doctor's death.
Well, nobody knew that Dr. Pace was going to be involved in a motor vehicle accident. What we understand is that his vehicle drove in front of the path of an oncoming 18-wheel tractor-trailer. Nobody could have predicted that was going to happen. The first plaintiff in our lawsuit had, in fact, already commenced an action a number of years before, so his lawsuit had started, and lawyers had been appointed for Dr. Pace and for the hospital. So there was plenty of time for Dr. Pace and the hospital to have put their position forward. It's also my understanding that the College of Physicians and Surgeons had commenced an investigation and had scheduled a hearing on a number of allegations made by a number of plaintiffs, and that there was quite an active OPP investigation. I think what happened is when Dr. Pace died, it triggered something inside of people that really brought to the surface what had gone on. And when they finally understood through publicity arising from that fatal accident that somebody had already started a lawsuit, they too decided to be brave and stand up and say no more. And that's typically what happens in these historical sexual assault claims. A lot of times people don't run out and announce the fact that they've been sexually assaulted. It takes a trigger to allow it to come forward, and for people to be brave to look, in the eyes of their family, in the eyes of their community, and say, this happened to me. And I think when people realized that others had that bravery and were standing up, they were prepared themselves to stand up.
Why didn't they stand up when the initial plaintiff a few years ago initiated his suit?
I think typically for two reasons. In sexual assault claims, people are often hesitant to stand up. It's an embarrassing thing to be involved in something like that. And I'm not sure that all of the plaintiffs knew that there was this other claim out there. It started to get publicized. And then, as I said, very suddenly, very unexpectedly, Dr. Pace was involved in this fatal collision. Nobody knew this was going to happen.
We have 10 plaintiffs now.
10 plaintiffs and 3 members of one of the plaintiffs' family who have also participated in the claim under what's called the Family Law Act.
But surely, if one is making such a powerful allegation against a doctor that many thought was a beloved figure in the community, should they not come forward and stand behind their allegations?
Well, they are. The 10 individuals who we act for have stood up. Mm-hmm. They are coming forward. They will come to discovery. They will go to court, and they will stand in front of a jury, and they will ask for justice. And they will say, here I am, this happened to me. I mean, these are very disturbing allegations. They're very, very, very disturbing. People allege that they went to a local hospital for care and treatment, and that in the process of that care and treatment, they were sexually assaulted. And what they allege is, quite frankly, a horror show.
How do you prove such allegations without Dr. Pace alive? It seems that it would be difficult to weigh liability here.
Well, the court will assess the credibility of the individuals. They will look at what happened to them. They will look at the medical records that show who was where when, and we have alleged that on more than one occasion, another individual from the hospital walked in and observed something very improper taking place. And it is our intention to call that evidence as part of our case.
So you're saying there were witnesses?
Our clients report there were at least 2 individuals who walked in and observed improper things taking place in the emergency room.
There is the perception from some that I've heard that these people are simply looking for money, that they're kind of gold digging here, that Dr. Pace isn't around to defend himself, and that their sole motivation is money. How do you address that?
One, I think that's a total crock. Most of these individuals came forward and reported these claims to the college, and the college doesn't make damage awards. The only thing the college does is look at whether or not a physician should be licensed and whether or not they're carrying out their functions properly and professionally. I can also tell you that no amount of money is worth standing up and saying, I was sexually assaulted and I was sexually abused, particularly in a small community. These people have families, they have communities, they have jobs. I have personally interviewed and met with all of the individuals that form part of this claim, and I am satisfied that not one of them is bringing this because it's a cash grab. I'm satisfied that they are seeking justice, and they are calling particularly the hospital to account for what took place. They allege that they were sexually assaulted on hospital premises in an emergency room where they went for medical attention. And it's extremely disturbing, and nobody stands up and says that this happened to them as part of a cash grab. I just don't buy it. This case is about justice. That's what this case is about.
That is Justice Linden. He's a lawyer representing 10 former patients of Dr. Peter Pace in a multi-million-dollar civil lawsuit. The doctor's wife and the former mayor of Temiskaming Shores, Judy Pace, declined an on-air interview, but she denies the allegations against her and her husband. The president and CEO of the Temiskaming Hospital, Margaret Beattie, also denies the allegations, but declined an interview. And their lawyer also decided not to speak. Dr. Pace is set to receive a posthumous Lifetime Achievement Award from the Temiskaming Chamber of Commerce later this month. It is 5 before 8 here on CBC Radio 1.